According to Matt Sledge, a writer in the Huffington Post, since Richard Nixon declared war on drugs in 1971, the United States prison population has increased over 700%. While we thought the drug war would help our country control our drug issues, it has only helped increase crime and destroy our society. I have had a lot of interest in this issue over the last 3 years or so, and I've spent much of that time learning as much as I could about the issue. I believe that the United States needs to change our policy on how we combat drugs. Between too much money being spent on the war and only helping drug dealers and stopping us from utilizing real working solutions, the war on drugs has proven to be ineffective. First off, the government, in my opinion, spends too much money on the war on drugs. According to Amy Pinicky with CBS News, in 1980, the average U.S. citizen paid $77 in taxes for prisons to be maintained. In 2014, however, the average U.S. citizen paid a whopping $260. In just a matter of 34 years, the cost in taxes for prisons has tripled. In 2014 alone, the U.S. spent $80 billion on our prisons. This spending only increases each year as the war on drugs creates a higher incarceration rate. In 2012 alone, there were over 12 million drug-related arrests in the U.S. Little diagram to illustrate that. And these 12 million arrests made up 12% of all arrests over all crime, which is a very significant amount. The war on drugs program in itself is very expensive. According to DrugSense.org, the U.S. federal government spent over $15 billion in 2010, with an additional $25 billion coming from state and local governments. Since 1971, when the war on drugs first started, the U.S. has spent over $1 trillion. In addition to spending too much on funding the drug war, this is also really only helping the drug dealers. According to the FBI website, in an article published on online paralegal programs, 82% of all arrests for drug abuse violations are from those who had possession of drugs. Comparatively, only 18.2 of these arrests were from those who were either manufacturing or selling the drugs. So, diagram to illustrate that. Since so few arrests are related to the arrests of the manufacturers, no drugs are actually leaving the market. Even though nearly 20% of these arrests are from our manufacturers, it's only really destroying the small-time drug manufacturers, allowing for bigger organizations to create a monopoly on the drug market. Giving organizations such as the Mexican cartel even more power in the drug world instead of crippling them. A situation similar to this can be found in the TV show Breaking Bad. A little over halfway through the show, the main character kills a major supplier of meth in the U.S. This leads to the cartel swooping in and taking over the market in the U.S. and causing the production of meth to actually explode. If a real solution were to be used, then the war on drugs would be long done and over with. There are far better solutions to the nation's drug problem other than fighting tooth and nail against it. For example, in the Netherlands, the Dutch have created a system that has nearly eradicated a large part of their drug problem. The Netherlands have started their own war on drugs around the same time that Nixon started one here in the U.S. However, it was abandoned when they found that fighting drugs really wouldn't solve anything. Instead of throwing drug addicts away into a cage, labeling them as terrible people unfit for society, they were sent to clinics where their addiction and other psychological issues could be treated. These clinics saved the state around $13,000 a person in crime control and incarceration fees. According to Marquis with ScienceNordic.com. Much of the U.S.'s drug problem comes not from scumbag people looking for a night out with coke and heroin. Actually, most people are addicted to these drugs because of a deeper psychological issue. In 1970, Bruce Alexander performed an experiment called the Rat Park experiment that showed when people are in an environment where they can be happy and their quality of life is good, then it's easy for people to pretty much just ignore drugs. In fact, most people in such an environment never really felt the need to use drugs ever again. When it all boils down to it, the war on drugs is a war that has failed miserably. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, in 2013, an estimated 25 million Americans ages 12 or older had used an illicit drug in the past month. This number is up from 8% in 2002. In the war on drugs, drugs use is on the rise. People are using more drugs and more people are incarcerated now than during Nixon's presidency. In short, we need to reevaluate how we approach the drug problem in America and even all over the world. The war on drugs is not working and is only a detriment to our society.